Welcome to another Tech Tuesday. It is I, Matthew the Body Kemmuetmuller, reporting to you live from the center of the volume photography universe, Minneapolis, Minnesota. I love working on these Tech Tuesdays. It's something I really enjoy because it's an opportunity for me to share with you guys kind of some of the things that we're doing within our business and kind of spotlight some of the cool stuff our vendors are providing for us. So today, as I was kind of working through our options and seeing who we should bring on and who we should talk about, I landed on bringing on a person who's been an awesome colleague, helped me out a lot. It's been in my studio before, knows cameras better than I ever hoped to. And from one of my favorite camera manufacturers, Sony, we're bringing David Rice on stage.
Hey, thank you, Matthew.
And the crowd goes wild. So David, I don't know if you knew this, but I grew up, I'm second generation photographer. And my first professional camera was the Canon 20D. And so that camera was the first one. My dad was always like, we were kind of a Canon group for a really long time. Mm-hmm. And then as we started growing the business and technology changed, we kind of shopped around. And we shot with a couple of different lines, and we shot with Sony, and we tried some other stuff, and we wound up back at Sony.
We're glad to hear that.
So I'm a big fan. I've photographed with a lot of different stuff over the years, and the thing that I've also really enjoyed about Sony is really the support we get at the pro level from people in your position, and so. In Minnesota, Ben Manlove was like our guy for a very, very long time.
He's still your guy.
And
even though he lives in Denver now, he's still your guy.
He is. Well, and it's actually really funny because it's an amazing relationship with some of these pro support people, because it's like I've been like, I don't know what to do on this one setting, and I pick up the phone and I get an answer right away. And the support and the resources that we have are so amazing. And so introducing kind of our audience here to why I brought you on. David stopped by my studio. When was that?
Probably about May of last year.
Yeah, it sounds about right. So probably coming up on a year soon-ish, probably 10 months ago. David popped out, and Sony has been working on some interesting technology. At that point, not everything was released yet, and I certainly didn't get any sneak peeks or anything like that. But some of the technology that they come out was they had these really cool custom grid lines that were coming out, and there's even some additional tech that's really cool. And so recently, Sony was awesome enough to loan me one of the cameras to try for a couple of weeks so that we could give you guys my feedback. But because I feel like a chimp when I try to explain cameras and technology to other photographers, I wanted to bring David on to explain kind of Sony's technology and what you guys are doing. So David, if you don't mind, kind of walk us through the leaps and bounds that Sony's made for volume photographers.
Yeah. So if 3 or 4 years ago, Sony started to pay attention to the volume photography market. Some of you may have worked with Sam Korn, who's obviously still with Sony in some other capacities. And we went to Japan and said, this is a $5 billion market. And they went, really? Because that's not school photos is not a thing in Japan. And it took us a little while to get the first prototype out. But we came out with this, as Matthew noted, the custom grid lines. And I'll show you some here on a camera. And the beautiful thing about custom grid lines is that in the past, whether if you were a DSLR and you put a sticker on the back of your LCD screen, or you had your mirror engraved, you were sort of stuck with whatever that was. And even in the ages of mirrorless cameras, some other manufacturers said, yeah, we'll give you this thing to work with, and you figure out how to make it work with your business. And Sony was fortunate enough that we said, well, we can do that one step better. And so we allow you to make your own custom grid lines. And they can pretty much be anything that you want within the physical parameters of the memory of the camera. So for custom grid lines, they have to be 640 by 480, 256K, 4096 colors. There are some things that have to fill in it from a technical standpoint. But you can make them anything you want. And in fact, I will show you.
Let's jump on that real quick though, David. So back in the day, how many SPACs have you gone to?
Well, I've been to 3, but I didn't go to this last one.
Okay.
We were only sent 2 people, and since I'd been to so many before, we decided to send some of my East and West Coast counterparts who hadn't had the opportunity to go. So we let them take their turn.
I just remember one of the first years I ever went to SPAC. I've been going for a while. And I remember for the first several years, there was a guy who used to come and would install the custom grid lines. And it was a really cool service and a really cool product because, things have changed, of course, with technology, not even just with mirrorless cameras, but even just software and cropping guidelines and stuff like that. And it used to be one of those things where, man, you really had to get it right in camera or you were struggling, brother. It was a real tough one. And so we used to have a guy who come in and do the custom grids, and of course, you can't put grids over a mirror. You can't put the grid lines on a mirror if it's a mirrorless camera. And so, for a long time, we were stuck as photographers, literally having to put those stickers on the LCD screen. And I invested in some of those over the years, but I also when I photograph, I want my eye on the viewfinder. I don't want to shoot like this. I want to shoot like a photographer.
And so it's great that you bring that up, Matthew, because one of the things that's nice about the custom grid line is it's visible on the LCD on the back in the electronic viewfinder, and if you're sending signal out via HDMI to a display, it also shows up there.
I see, and to me, that's such a simple but amazing part of this tool. Because it makes it you use it, and I also think it also allows me to get in my little photographer mind and look through my viewfinder and do my little checklist of what I got to do. So that's so cool. And the ability but also kind of like you were saying, you were stuck even back in the day with the custom grid lines guy. That was it. That's what you got. So if you had one for yearbook photos, which is great, but then if you're out on a field shooting a team and you want a different crop, you're still having this headshot grid in your viewfinder. So awesome.
Yeah. So let me try and show you some of these on the back of this LCD. Unfortunately, I don't have the ability to share that. Okay. But I'm hoping you can see that pretty clearly. Yeah. So that's obviously just a straight head box. I made it out of magenta. So it's very easy to see. You have 4,096 colors to choose from. But this one, rarely shows up in nature. So it's very easy to do. I've left the lens cap on so they're easier to see.
Yeah, that's great.
So you can have 4 of them in the camera simultaneously. Here's number 2. So that's an 8x10 crop. You talked about taking team photos. I've actually, on this one, I'll take this off temporarily real here. I've actually made the box outside of it black. So I've actually blacked out the edges. So I know that if it's not in the box, it's not in the picture, right?
Smart.
So you can customize these any way that you want. So you might as well take advantage of the technologies. You can import graphics. Now, obviously, this does not print. This is just a mask. But if there was some reason that all of the pictures needed to be shifted over 20% to the side, you might as well put them, where they should be. So you don't have to do any work in the post-production.
For sure.
And then the last one I will show you, just because I wanted to prove that you can make it anything you want. You can make it Batman, right?
Yeah.
No practical use of this any way, shape, or form, but you have the ability, like I said, to import graphics and do anything you want to make them visible. Now, I will remind you that the custom grid line is a license. It's for custom grid line only. It's $149 one time per camera. We do also offer annual and monthly licenses. I actually have a couple of customers who, during their busy fall periods, rent cameras, and so they can buy the monthly license, for that circumstance if they want to use them. which could be very helpful for them.
Let's slow down on that. So it's 149.
149.
149 lives for the life of the camera.
That's for the life of the camera. And if for some reason the camera gets somebody drops it and the camera is broken and can't be repaired, when you send it in for service, they will, if the camera cannot be repaired, they will transfer that license to the new body.
Okay, that's huge. So then what about the monthly applications? Because I'm kind of like that. Like we run on average, we have a staff of full-time year-round photographers. But brother, like August 26th, I think I might have to hire you to come out and shoot for me.
We'll be retiring soon, so who knows?
We are so slammed. So I haven't had to go the route of renting cameras, but that might be something that's a legitimate thing this year. And so if I want to rent cameras and do that, how much does that cost? How does that work?
I'd be honest with you, I don't have the monthly pricing memorized, but I will get that information for you so you can put it out as an addendum. To your team. I want to say it's like $19.99, but don't quote me on that.
That would make sense. I mean, that sounds like a dollar amount.
Well, if the alternative is to buy $3,000 cameros, it's a relatively inexpensive option.
No. I think I spend that much on Chipotle for lunch. So that doesn't seem out of sight at all. I guess, and so that's
so let me point out the licenses, all the ones I'm going to talk about are available on most of our full frame lineup. So A7 IV, which I have here, A7 V, the new one, A7S3, A7 R5, A9 III, and the A1 Mark I and Mark II. And then also this year, it's also available on the 6700, which is one of our APS-C models.
Yeah.
So it's available. The full functional set is available on all of those cameras.
Awesome. That was going to be my next question. So you're going to tell me I need to upgrade all my cameras now. That's
one of the things you want to make sure you do is make sure that the camera is running the most current firmware, or it's not going to work.
Yeah. No,
that's one of the things that we show. Let me, if you don't mind, Matthew, let me show you the custom. So in order to make these custom grid lines, you could obviously, if you were so inclined, you could make them in Microsoft Paint or Adobe Photoshop. But Sony said, and we developed a custom grid line generator application. It's Windows only at this point in time.
Okay.
But if you want, I can show you that real quick.
Yeah,
that might give you and other folks in SPAC an idea of what's entailed in doing this. So let me share my screen real quick, and you can bring it up for everyone to see.
All right, here we go.
Okay, so this is the opening page for a custom grid line. So you can see I can do different formats depending on what I'm trying to shoot. I can also do horizontal or vertical. And bear in mind, of course, that if you do a vertical one and then you turn your camera the other way, then it's going to be pointing in the wrong direction. But I'm just going to do a basic 4x3 horizontal, create a new grid line. And all I really need to do is select what shape I want. I want to do squares. I want to do ellipses, straight lines, curved lines. I'm going to keep this fairly simple. Right, I'm going to make a square line fits around the box. And then I'm going to make another one. And you see over here on the right-hand side, all of this other information where I can make it filled. I've got set for outline. I can choose the color that I want. I can choose the opacity. I can choose the thickness. I can choose, solid or various dot dashes if I want. So I have all kinds of options to choose from. I'm going to make another one in another color. I'm going to make this one in another color. Excuse me. Oops. Let me fix that real quick. I'm going to make another box. And I'm going to change the color of this one. And I'm going to lead this up to, I wanted to do this because one of the other functions that we have available in our volume photography package is something called in-camera crop. So I'm going to make this actually a crop area. inside this box. And so now this is my crop. And I'll explain what that means in just a second. And then I export it. It goes to a file. I load it onto my SD card. And there is a sub menu you can see where it says SD card. It says, save in private /Sony/Pro/Gridline. You're not going to mistake it for anything else. And then I just click OK. And yes, I would like to do that. And I am done.
That's awesome. That seems pretty easy. I want to just put text on there like no hats, like to remind them, or remember to smile at the kids.
Yes,
that's awesome.
So and like I said, you can have 4 in the camera at any given time, but I can have more of them stored on the SD card if for some reason I needed to swap out more than those. I would have that capability to do that.
That's phenomenal.
So that was the first thing we did. We did custom Gridline, and then just after I came and visited you, I think I hinted that there were some other things coming, and one of those things that was coming was in-camera crop. So on this camera, I'll put the lens cap back on. So I've actually made, this is the one you sort of saw. So obviously I've done this one before. So if you happen to be doing student IDs for one of your customers right now, I'm going to zoom in on you here, Matthew. And so now I get the crop picture.
Oh, wow.
And then also the full picture. I get 2 pictures with 1 click. Awesome. So they're both saved on the SD card or your external drive at the same time. You get, like I said, so if you're doing those kinds of things, again, saving time on the back end from having to move those little faces off the picture into an ID card or something like that. Super simple way to do that. So that, like I said, if that's part of your workflow, we have a solution for you for that.
Even like, and honestly, like, there's various tools that you can use. Captura has built-in cropping through Enhance, and there's Pixnub's face crop, and there's the Evoto, I think, has it now too. But the one thing that we've always noticed is that, like, the closer we get to what we want it to be, the easier it is and the faster it is. Even if you are still using these other tools in part of your workflow, which we do, the closer you are, the faster they work, and the less weird one-offs you get that require more attention. So tools like this is great. And I also think where I can see this being really valuable is specifically for our seasonal photographers and maybe people who don't have a lot of experience, because I think sometimes it's easy to kind of feel uncomfortable, and you're like, I don't know if I'm cropping right. Am I doing this the way they want me to? And this is just a visual nod that, like, oh, if your head is here, your shoulders are here, you're doing it right. And I think that's a great way to reassure people through this. Yeah.
Well, and the other thing you mentioned, and I'm glad you did, I'll bring it up. We are compatible with almost all of the major softwares out there. I would like to say all, but I don't want to take a chance that we're not. But we announced our full integration with Captura at SPAC. We've been with Got Photo for a while. So, if you're using a third-party software and you're curious, just have somebody reach out to me or one of my East or West Coast counterparts, and we'll make sure that we're fully integrated with what you're using, so that EXIF data for the next thing I'm going to show you is translated. So I've shown you 2 legs of the stool, but there is one more that Sony developed in conjunction with the volume photography companies. And because I know how much all of you love to be tethered to all of these accessory devices like tablets and scanners, and all the wires hanging off just makes life so much easier for everybody. So the third leg of this stool is internal scan and tag. So we've built in the capability for the camera to read both bar and QR codes and store that information in the EXIF data. And I'll try and demonstrate that for you. I don't know if you'll be able to hear the little bleepy sound. So all of our cameras are customizable, almost to a fault. So what we did in this situation is on this 6200, we customized the C2 button to be the scan and tag button. So I just press and hold that, and then I can use it to read the EXIF data. The nice thing is I'm not pushing shutter buttons to take a picture of the QR code or the barcode. It's actually stored in the photo data. And then if for some reason I need to clear that data, I can use the red one to clear that barcode. But let me see if I can get a good reading.
I think we actually did the exact opposite way. I think we set it up so it was record. Was like the record was the capture for us.
Like I said, I mean, some people like the AF button on the top. If you never use the video record button, that's a great option.
That's what we
use that as well. So I don't know if you'll be able to see this very well, but I'm going to try and. I don't know if you heard that little.
I heard it. Yep.
So now I can see all this information at the bottom of the screen. That's the EXIF data from that file. And then again, if I take a picture. I'm going to get off my one here. I'll take a picture of you again. And if I go back and recall it, you'll see in the lower corner there, you'll see that EXIF data there as well.
We actually demoed it. I mean, you sent us a camera. And so we had to kind of find the right job for it, where we wanted to go and try some stuff, because we are new to shooting tethered. And this is our first year that we're really going all in on it. We kind of dabbled last year and we kind of got our butts kicked. So we've been spending a lot of time and energy making sure that doesn't happen again. And but we went and we did a cap and gown at a small charter school. And so we just wanted to try the embedded data and the grid lines and stuff like that. And we took one of our senior photographers who had never used it before, and it was a pretty seamless and flawless. I mean, it's just one of those things that it makes sense. It's really intuitive. And especially if you understand, like if you're a photographer and you understand the idea of what tagging a photo means and where this data goes and the importance of it. And man, it's such a great thing. So I think for us, the advantages for us on that is as we are going more and more into the tethered world, I never want to drag out a freaking laptop on a football field. Like I'm never bringing it into a pool. Like that's just
right.
It's just not going to happen. And so where I see a lot of this for us, I see a ton of advantages on when you get stuck into the more mobile stuff with more environmental impacts. I'm like, man, this is a great tool for us. Not to say it wouldn't be helpful in other stuff, but that's where I see it being impactful for us.
Yeah, I mean, don't have to worry about USB-C cables coming out. You don't have to worry about tablets or scanners or something like that being out in weather. There's all kinds of advantages to that. Now, I just we talked about licenses earlier. All of these features are available a la carte, and I have to get pricing for you I will tell you that 90% of the licenses, probably 95% of the license we sell are the custom grid line one, which I said is $149 per camera. And the other one is the full volume photography package, which includes custom grid lines. It includes internal crop, and it includes internal scan and tag. And that one is $199 per camera. There are also two additional features that are included in that package. One of them is a more specific way of dialing in your ISO. So typically on a Sony camera, you go up in increments of 100K. Moving your color things around. With the volume photography license, it's 10K. So you can make small incremental changes. So if your studio has a look, and I know a lot of studios do, you can really dial that in to make sure that happens. And the other one, which does need to be used in conjunction either with your own proprietary software or Sony's SDK, our software development kit, is shutter prohibit. So, and this came at the request of a couple of our volume photography customers. Through their software, they want to say, if you're outside of this aperture range, if you're outside of this shutter speed, if you're outside of this ISO, no shutter release. You press the shutter, nothing happens.
Mm.
So now you have the ability to go, what am I doing wrong before I take 500 pictures? Wrong.
Oh, well, I mean, to be honest with you, David, I mean, I've been doing photography for a long time, but I mean, really, I mean, this is just my 10th. Well, I shouldn't say just. I mean, we just finished our 10th school season. And it seems like throughout the history of volume photographers, there's different cameras that kind of lived in lore. There was the Canon's SV Studio version 7D, and they made a 7D Mark II that allowed you to store the barcode, and then kind of had like a short run and drifted away. And there was Fujis that were storied great cameras. I think what Sony's done right now is really brought back a tool that's really made for us volume photographers, and I think it's really cool to be able to see the front end. For me, even though I've been in it for 10 years, I've been seeing the front end of cool tech coming to these made for us. It's huge. So thank you guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and some of the nice things about it, I mean, with these licenses, you purchase them on the Sony site. You download them into an SD card, so you can buy 1 or 50 or 12 or whatever the number is you need. You make sure your camera firmware is updated. And then you put the SD card in, which you'll load the serial numbers when you order your licenses, and then the camera will go, yep, serial numbers match, load the license. It takes longer to get the SD card in and out of the camera than it does to load the license.
That's amazing.
So it's all like I said, done by you. You have to send the cameras anywhere to get that done. Like I said, you can use it for almost most of our major cameras. Like I said, this is the APS-C, the Alpha 6700 with the 18-135 lens. This is a very popular choice from a cost perspective. Obviously, the A7 IV. Really, 2 lenses that are popular. This is the 28-70. This is sort of the kit lens, but there's also a 24-105 that is popular. And then, like I said, you just said before we got on this call, you're starting to do sports action photography. Sony, the A9 III is the world's only global shutter. So there's pre-capture, which is a little, 0.3 to 1 second time machine built into those cameras, a couple of those camera models. So there's all kinds of really great features, that Sony has been developing, AI capabilities, which is mostly human form recognition and things like that, and tracking, all kinds of fun things. And honestly, if you're coming from DSLRs, one of the things that has proven to be popular is the ability to sort of change your focus capability. So if I go to my focus area, instead of doing the entire area, I can actually limit my focus to the little white box in the center of that headshot.
So they have something similar in that existed in the A7 IV. They had like a little area that you could do.
This is an A7 IV. Yeah.
So you know when I use
it has nothing to do with the volume photography license. Yeah. It's just, like I said, if you have people who are concerned about, am I getting the right focus? Limit your focus to that space.
That's what I use that for. That's so amazing. What I like to use that for is we do a lot of graduations, commencements. And I always say, like, I used to photograph weddings. And what's the most important picture at a wedding, David?
Anything with the bride in it.
The kiss. If you miss the kiss, you miss everything. And so you go do graduations, and it's like 800 kiss photos in a row because you got to get that moment with that person every single time. And so one of the issues that we've had over the years, especially with newer photographers that try to help with us, is if there's like graduates that are walking and the autofocus might jump from here to here, just trying to pick up the faces. So what I like to do is I like to have that box, and I put my camera on a monopod, and I put their face in that box, and I track them. And I move
using tracking. Okay,
as they come through, and then that way my autofocus is always like I know exactly where it's going to train and which subject it's going to lock in on. And so it's been a godsend for me on these on the 12 days of marathon graduation shooting that we do every year.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
focus tracking is another, excuse me, capability that it's difficult for me to show you, but yeah, absolutely. Just pick your subject, auto lock or half shutter press, and it will follow that subject through the frame as they move, or even something that's not a person. Honestly, it will do that as well. So
that's amazing. Well, David, anything else you want to make sure we find out about?
So just so you're aware, and you can always cut this part out later if you don't like
no,
it.
it's gonna go in. It's in it. You win it.
So you'll continue if you're interested in Sony cameras. You'll continue to buy them through the authorized reseller of your choice. Take advantage of our B2B discounts. Take advantage of our instant rebates. We have a trade-in, trade-up program through most of our larger resellers that have used inventory programs. So you can get credits towards new cameras. And if you're like, well, this sounds like great, but I'd really like to try this. Well, like Matthew said earlier, we can send you an evaluation loan for a couple of weeks. It'll have the whole volume photography package loaded on it. So you'll get custom grid line, you'll get in-camera crop, you'll get in-camera scan and tag. You'll need to make your own custom grid lines. But you can try them out for a couple of weeks and see if this is the way you want to go. And of course, you'll have access to your professional imaging account manager, which is me or my East or West Coast counterparts. And if I don't know the answer, and Matthew gave me far too much credit for my knowledge, we'll get your pro support manager involved to answer any super technical questions that you might have.
It's gonna be like flying first class, though, guys. Once you try it, you're never gonna want to go back in the back of the plane. So awesome. Well, David, people got a chance to see you guys anywhere soon?
Well, we just came back from WPPI. So I'm not exactly sure where our next event is going to be. Obviously, we're going to have a couple of folks at NAB, not really this crowd, but we'll try and keep you apprised of where we're going to be. I know we'll be at SPOA, and we'll probably we're doing some workshops around the country. So we're going to have some fun, introducing volume photography.
Awesome. Well, we're excited to see you. I will make sure people know how to get in touch with you. And thanks for hanging out on another Tech Tuesday with me.
Yeah, glad to be here.
And we will turn it over to the people, you guys. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate you guys spending your little bit of your afternoon with me. Of course, drop any questions you got in the comments, and we will get answers to you guys. And keep kicking butt out there. We'll see you guys later.
Yeah, thanks so much.